What is up, YouTube? My name is Ethan Schmidt and you are on the Hybrid Runner channel. If at the end of this video you decide you like the content or you got something out of it, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. So today I would like to share something I've been reflecting on lately in my recovery, and that is how I almost pretty much let fear take over my life and kill me. I'll just start from before I started doing drugs to, how I was during drugs and how it still affects me after. Before, as a kid, I always cared way too much about what people thought about me. I regarded other people's opinions of me way more than I cared about my own. And that just kind of like led me to a life of just not really being authentic and being myself. And then over years, it just compounded and compounded, and I just, I didn't feel right in my own skin because I wasn't who I was supposed to be. I was playing a role to make everybody else, at least what I thought, to make everybody else happy. But now, as a 28-year-old, I know that no one really has opinions of you like that, and if they do, they really don't matter unless they pay your bills, and even then, screw them. But yeah, I was always afraid to talk about my problems as a kid, and it led to me building up a lot of I guess anxiety, depression, a lot of feelings. When I was younger, mental health was not the hot button issue like it is now. That kind of stuff kind of got swept under the rug. And I remember in about like 7th grade, I had the perfect opportunity to start working on all of that. My dad had just gone to Iraq. The school knew about it, and they regularly scheduled me to see the counselor and meet with other soldiers or kids whose parents are soldiers who are deployed in the Iraq War. And I just stayed bottled up. I never really used the program for what it was, and it just kind of compounded into something worse. By the time I got to 8th and 9th grade, all these issues built up, and then next thing I knew, I was doing drugs about it. Wasn't like a conscious decision. I got high one time. It felt great. I didn't have to worry about, any problems. A lot of those negative emotions that I was dealing with went straight away immediately. And it just, at the time, it seemed like the answer. And then obviously it started to spiral and spiral and spiral out of control. And then eventually I'm addicted to heroin. And then fear is what really kept me on heroin for so long. It's, I want to say almost 5 years straight of just pure misery and agony, and fear kept me there. I was still obviously afraid to talk about my problems with anybody. I was never open. A lot of people call me open and honest now, which is weird to me because it's not who I always have been. So it's always just weird hearing people say it about me now. But yeah, I never like to talk about my problems. I was afraid to admit to other people that I was an addict. At that time, I was able to hide it. I wasn't, like, my face wasn't all sunken in. I didn't have track marks up and down my arms. I wasn't like real skinny. I could hide it. I was decently well at hiding it. But eventually it just, it kept spiraling and spiraling out of control. And eventually I was afraid to get clean. I did overcome that fear, but when I got to rehab, I hit a crossroad where I couldn't imagine life without doing heroin, basically, or opiates, or drugs, I just couldn't imagine life without it. First of all, I didn't think it was possible, for me at least. Second of all, it didn't look very desirable. I remember what it felt like before I did drugs. I was not a happy person. The fear of getting clean really held me back, but I eventually did overcome that fear. I went to rehab, and then the gravity of my whole situation really hit me when I was in rehab. I spent my first week pretty much sober. All my emotions were just coming back. I was becoming, I guess, my normal self again, not my drug-affected self. And and eventually I came to a point where like I said, I couldn't imagine my life without getting high anymore. And I also was afraid of a life where I was still getting high. So, like, to me, I felt like I had no other option. And that was one of the times I attempted suicide. Also, a little bit earlier during my use, one of my best friends died. And it was hard for me. I wasn't sure how to tell my parents like I had a problem too. I'm sure they already knew, but I was afraid to tell them, and honestly, the way that I planned on dealing with it was I was going to overdose and die. That way, they knew I had a problem, but I didn't have to deal with the ramifications of everyone knowing that I'm a drug addict, basically. And yeah, it was. Those are two instances where fear really almost straight up took my life, and it's my fault. And then, so yeah, like I said, I attempted all my life in rehab, and I was locked in a psych ward for 2 weeks, and it was rough. It was rough. And then I got back to rehab. They let me restart my program, and I started to develop a fear of, I guess you would call it reconciliation. It wasn't easy dealing with the things that I've done. Like I said, well, I haven't said it on here. I was homeless in Baltimore, basically. And the things you gotta do to survive in an environment like that, a lot of people don't have the stomach for. But yeah, it was, so I had a lot of reconciliation coming home. It was hard. I spent a year in Florida, spent a year doing intense therapy. I worked through a lot of those fears. I came home ready to face, face the music, basically, pay the piper. I stole a lot of money from my parents, from stores. I was in trouble with the law. I had to come back and turn myself in. And I overcame all these fears. And it definitely wasn't an easy process. And then even now, I still deal with fears. Like, I still care about other people's opinions of me. Sometimes I'm afraid to kind of put myself out there, which is why I'm so happy I'm making this YouTube channel now. And honestly, fear is more of a positive. The fear I experience now is more of a positive and driving force than it was when I was a kid. Nowadays, the things I'm afraid of are just passing away and no one knowing my story, no one being able to use it to help themselves. And those things kind of drive me today, but I feel like it's more of a positive drive. It's not like I'm afraid of how people are going to react to me now. Obviously, I'm very open about my story now. I couldn't give a shit what anyone else thinks about me anymore. I mean, I do a little bit, but honestly, not like it used to be. Everyone has like you care a little bit about what your peers think of you. But compared to what it used to be, I don't give a single shit like I used to. But yeah, like I said, fear is now more of a motivational force in my life. And it's just, I really wanted to touch on that topic because I feel like it's not expressed enough how much your own fear and your own mindset can hold you into a situation. Fear is deadly. Fear will make you do things that are completely out of character. Fear will cause a lot of problems in your lives. And honestly, a lot of the times the things we fear aren't even real. We make them up in our head. But yeah, I just wanted to come on here and share that with you guys. I appreciate you guys checking out the channel. If you, like I said, if you liked the content, if you found something interesting about it, or if you found it helpful, please subscribe. I'm going to be talking about topics like this much more, opening up my story a little bit, which is going to be hard for me. I'm realizing that as I shoot this video. I almost got a little emotional there. But yeah, it's definitely a blessing nowadays to be able to talk about this so openly, and kind of just takes a weight off your chest. So like I said, if you feel the same way, or if you're looking for a way out, you can always message me, or you can always subscribe to this channel. You can go over to my Instagram at Hybrid Runner, same exact name as this channel. I try to connect with everyone that I can, and I'm only 5 years clean, so I can't give you like all the advice in the world, but I can kind of just help walk you through your journey a little bit, show you what I experienced, and tell you how I overcame it all. It's definitely not an easy process for those going through it. It's gonna be a lot of emotion. It's gonna be hard, but yeah, I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch. And like I said, I will be making a lot more content like this, and I appreciate everyone taking the time to listen to my story, because it means a lot to me. It helps me get it off my chest, and hopefully it helps some of you.